That's annoying. I have to do it again.
Oh shoot. Oh my gosh. In a previous video, I showed you how to make these slotted signs using our xTool P2S and also our EufyMake UV printer. These are wild for the wedding season, making these really cool signs. But you know what also is like super popular right now is going to be these type of signs right here that have light up bases. I'm gonna show you how we take these light up bases that you find off the Zon, create your own sign so you can put it in there. And these right here are going to be best sellers over on Etsy this holiday shopping season. Now for today's project, I'm gonna be using my xTool P2S because it is a CO2 machine and you are gonna need to be cutting clear acrylic. I'm gonna show you how to make this sign for these light up bases all within the xTool Creative Space software. But if you have a different CO2 machine than I do, that is totally okay. You can actually design within the xTool Creative Space program with me, and then you would just export your SVG file and import it into your laser that you are going to be using. Also for today's project, just like with the slotted sign base, you are going to need some calipers. While I'm going to give you the measurements of what I have for this, one, it's good practice for you just so you know how I'm actually doing things, but two, just in case your slotted base, light up base is different measurements than me, I know that they sell these in different lengths and such like that. It's really important that you have some of these digital calipers just so you make sure that the sign that you're creating for your project fits perfectly in here. Now, once we get done designing and cutting our acrylic signs for today's project, what we're gonna do is we're only going to use the EufyMake Studio software to design and also print. I don't think I've ever done one of these before. I truly don't think that I've ever used the software to do any type of designing. So I'm gonna show you what they got and see if we get a cool finished project at the very end. Let's go. All right, so the very first thing we wanna do is just open up the xTool Creative Space program. Then what we are gonna do is we are gonna come over here and make a new project. Now, the reason why you need your calipers for today's project is not only for the actual width of this base, but also we need to figure out how tall this little slot is right here. The reason for that is just like with this sign right here, you can see that we have this like French bulldog is printed all the way at the very bottom. When we slide this in to this sign, you actually have some stuff cut off. Now, obviously, something like this, it's not that important to make sure that your thing doesn't get cut off, right? But however, if you were to print a sign like this and drag this all the way down to the very bottom and then stick it in here, what happens is your writing is going to get cut off because you didn't account for that little lip that's right there. So that's why we need our calipers. So you want to make sure and grab your calipers and then the base that you're going to be using, okay? So the very first thing we want to do is create the little lip that is going to be this slotted sign. Using your calipers, what you want to do is obviously turn them on, and you are going to want to set these to millimeters. The reason why is millimeters is a lot more accurate than inches, okay? First thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take the length of my base. So my entire base is going to be 151 millimeters. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to come over here into the shapes and I'm going to click this rectangle tool and I'm just going to create a shape. Any shape, doesn't really matter. Okay, for this right here, we want to unlock this and we want to create this 151 millimeters. I'm already set to millimeters right here. If you are not set to millimeters, what you want to do is come over here into this X where you see this little caret, click on that and then go to settings. This is where you can toggle between millimeters and to inches. Okay, so I'm just going to exit out of that. Now what we want to do is taking our calipers again, making sure that you're set to 0. What you want to do is now take the measurement of inside your base. So you're going to see that I have my calipers like that. And that is what, here, I can show it to you like this. Okay. And then this right here is at the very top of that. So this right here is going to be 8.5 millimeters. So what I'm gonna do is come over here, instead of this being 22, I'm gonna do 8.5. Okay, so this right here, this little rectangle, if we were to cut it out and put it in here, it would fall and it would just be flush with here and fit the entire length, okay? So now what we have to do is put whatever sign, if you wanted to create this one, now what we have to do is now put this on top of that rectangle, okay? So I'm gonna come back over here into the shapes again, and I am going to insert a rectangle, and I'm just gonna make a rectangle. I'm gonna make multiples of these in different sizes, in different shapes, just so you can see. So we're gonna take one of these shapes, this is gonna be a rectangle, and I'm also going to do a circle. So I'm just going to draw a circle on my page. And then I'm gonna do one more. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna come down here into shapes. This is a completely different shape section. This is where you could have like basic shapes. I would actually not even, I wish that they would change this. I would change this probably over to like their design studio or something like that, because they have a lot more than just shapes. They have little icons right here. They have parts, patterns, festival, animal, and whatever. I'm gonna come over here into a basic shape, and I am going to insert this shape right here, which is kind of like this oblong looking thing. I don't know what you would call this. What do they call it? They don't call it anything. I do want to cut this in half though, because I want it to be a shape like this. Okay, so I want that. All right. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to now take my rectangle that I've already have on my screen, and I'm going to copy and paste it. Command C, Command V. Now with this rectangle, what I'm going to do is I'm going to create my rounded base sign. What is this called? An arched sign, okay? I'm gonna put my rectangle over what I want to keep, okay? So everything that is inside this rectangle, that is what my finished sign is going to end up looking like. So I do wanna cut off that one end. Once I kind of have the sign about the shape that I want, I'm gonna select both pieces, and then I'm gonna come over here and I'm gonna press this unite at overlap. All right, so do you see now I have my rounded base sign, which is perfect. All right, now that we have that done, I'm going to take my thing and move it over to the right, just so it stands up and down like I want it to. All right, so now what we have to do is I am going to be making 3 of these. So I'm going to copy and paste my little base, and I'm going to drag these over to do 3 of them. Now what I want to do is I'm going to change this over from millimeters to inches, because my brain can't think in millimeters without using my calipers. So I'm gonna come over here into inches and then click out of that. Okay, now for this rectangle, what I am going to do is I'm gonna make this larger so it fits into my rectangle, just something like that. And I'm gonna make sure that the height is kind of set to the height that I want. Let's do a 7-inch high base with a 6.5 inch wide. I said base. A 7-inch tall sign with a 6.5 wide sign. Okay, I'm gonna make sure that it's centered onto my rectangle, and then let's go over here into this circle right here. I'm gonna do the same thing. I'm gonna create this a little bit larger than my actual base. I don't know how that's going to look, but we shall see. Let's do 7.5 for that. And then I'm gonna make sure that my rectangle that I have is centered onto my circle. All right, now for this one right here, I am actually gonna make it a little bit smaller than my base. I think making it a little bit smaller will look all right. Okay, so I'm just going to make this like that. And then this is going to be 6.2 inches tall. Should be all right. Okay, so going over here into the very first sign, what you want to do, and we're gonna zoom in, so coming over here at the bottom right, we're gonna zoom in. What you wanna do is make sure your 2 pieces are overlapping together. If they don't, what happens is it will never be like one solid piece. It'll always remain 2 pieces. Then you don't have that little lip, okay? So I am just going to click on it, click on my shape, And I'm just going to toggle down just with my keyboard a couple times until you see those two shapes overlapping. So zooming in, do you see how there's just barely an overlap? Okay, good enough. We're gonna select both. We're gonna come up here and we are gonna press Unite, which is weld. Do you see how now there's no line in between and everything is one solid piece? That's perfect. That's essentially what we did right here in this slotted sign that we had made previously together. This right here is that, just obviously on a larger scale. Doing the same thing with this circle, you just want to click and then use your keyboard to just toggle down a little bit. There is the smallest little lip, okay? Making sure that both are center. If they're not center, you can come up here to the align and then center, and then also press Unite. And do you see how now we have just the smallest little cut? That's perfect, okay? And now with this, same thing. And I'm just gonna show you. See how there's no overlap here? If we were to select both and press Unite, do you see how there is still that line across there? What happens is when you cut this on your laser cutter, it's gonna cut those lines and it's gonna make them two separate pieces. So it's pretty important that we have just the smallest amount of overlap. You don't have to have it crazy. You just wanna have enough to where it's technically overlapping. Like if you're thinking about actually welding, if you've never welded before, I actually have. That's a little fun fact, but you have to have it touching. It can touch at the very smallest things, but that's okay. But it has to be touching in order to weld two pieces together. If they don't touch, they ain't welded. So we're just gonna have the smallest bit of overlap, making sure that we are align this to the center and then welding. And now we have no line there, which is perfect. All right, so if you are not using an xTool for today's project, what you want to do is come over here into this caret button, and then you're gonna do File and then Export SVG. It's going to make an SVG file. Let's just do light up base signs and then press Save. Now what you can do is take your SVG file and you can drag and drop it into any of your softwares that you need or are using so you can cut the clear acrylic. Unfortunately, CO2 Machines is the only laser cutter that can cut clear acrylic. Okay, now before I turn on my xTool P2S, what I am going to do is change over all of my cutting parameters and stuff like that. The reason for that is my xTool is loud. So for recording content purposes, I like to keep that off as long as possible. For you, you could have it on, you know? Anyway, we're gonna come over here into the unknown materials and I'm gonna click on this 1/8 3mm black acrylic. All acrylic, no matter the color, as long as it's the same depth, like thickness, it all cuts the same. So whatever settings they give you for the black one, I just use that and then press confirm. All right, just press got it. If you are new to cutting anything with your laser does equal fire, but also acrylic is the most flammable material that you can cut. So a lot of people are really nervous. You shouldn't be nervous. Just make sure and keep your eyes on your laser when it is cutting. All right, I'm gonna come over here into cut. And then I'm just gonna leave it at the 80 and 13 settings. And then what I'm gonna do now is turn on my xTool P2S and insert a piece of clear acrylic. Okay, now that my xTool P2S is turned on, what I am going to do is connect to it. Sometimes it auto connects, sometimes it doesn't, I don't know. I just press that auto connect. It is going to refresh for me. And then what I'm going to do, we are not gonna do a firmware update. Absolutely not, don't tell my husband. All right, we are going to refresh the bed image. All right, we are gonna come over here and we are gonna do an aimed measure because I love doing aimed measures. Aimed measures give you the best crispest cut ever. Also helps with engraving, but we are gonna put this onto our material. It looks like everything is going to fit. Now that we have that done, you wanna make sure and set it to cut, which it already is, and then you just wanna press process. This right here is gonna take a total of 2 minutes and 54 seconds to cut, which isn't long at all. I'm gonna press start. Now, when you're done pressing start on your xTool, what you need to do first is vent out of a window if you need to vent out. Or for me, I need to come down here and I need to turn on my air filter. This just helps pull out all of the bad smoke. leaving you some really good cuts. See how loud it is? All right, pressing the happy button on the top of the machine. We're gonna let this bad boy cut. When that's done, we'll head over to the EufyMake UV printer. All right, now that the xTool P2S is done cutting, I am just going to turn off my thing because it's louder than anything. We have 3 different signs. We got a circle one, a rectangle, square, and then also an arched base. Just to show you that it actually does work. We have the slotted sign base right here, not slotted sign, it's a light up sign. I think I still have the slotted thing in my brain. So it's going to fit nice and good right in there with no issues on the sides. Same thing with this, no issues. Look at that, it's gonna look so cute. And also same thing with this. Look at that. Okay, so what we want to do now is take off the masking tape off your acrylic. Now I'm only gonna take off the masking tape off of one side because this is clear acrylic. This right here is kind of sticky and I don't want to like make my acrylic be nasty and gunk up my clear acrylic. It's like the hardest thing to say out loud. And also because it's clear, if you take off both sides, it's kind of hard for the camera to pick up and like make sure everything is perfect, like centered perfectly. So just making sure that I can see, line everything up. My acrylic doesn't get all nasty and wonky and gunked up. I'm just gonna take off one side. Now you could go ahead if you wanted to and put some adhesion prep on this. I'm not going to. And the reason for that is because this is just going to be a sign. It's not gonna go anywhere besides on my like bookshelf situation or fireplace bookshelf thing that I have in my house. No one's gonna be picking at it. If you were worried that this was going to be picked at or something like that, or used and handled, you know, by kids, I would probably suggest doing the adhesion prep pad just because, you know, you don't want your paint to fleck off. But I don't have any young kids at the house. It's just gonna be a shelf sitter, so we should be all right. I'm gonna use the rulers on my mat just to make sure everything is placed nice and center onto my mat. All right, so I have everything lined up and looking good. We are gonna print 3 different designs on these just to show you the differences because I am gonna be using different ink options for these, okay? So let's head back over to the software to finish setting this up. All right, so that did in fact take about 3 minutes to cut 3 different signs. That's not bad, right? Okay, so first things first, what we have to do is head over into the EufyMake Studio software. Now, before we do any type of design work, what I'm going to do is do a snapshot. And the reason for that is that takes the longest for this entire project. So coming over here into this plus sign, you can either click this plus sign right here or come over here into new design. Once we have a new page open, what you want to do is come over here and press create a snapshot. Now going back over into the home screen, you can see that there is a bunch of different designs. I can tell you, I don't think I've used any of these ever. That's terrible of me because there is a ton of stuff that we can access. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to come up here. I saw this one where it says lighting. We are doing a light up project. So let's just click on that. Look at how cool some of these projects are. Do you see this stained glass? I've tried to do stained glass projects and it didn't work. I'm going to try doing this one. We're going to click on that. I like this. This looks good. All right, I'm just going to come over here and press customize this design. Okay, so this project was actually done by Stephen Cavery, and what he says is what he used is print CMYK white and then CMYK again. Once the print is done, slide the acrylic into the frame. Oh, I don't have to do that. So we're gonna do CMYK white and CMYK. All right, so for this one, we are gonna change the ink mode over just to follow his directions. White, CMYK white and CMYK. Awesome. All right, now let's look for another design. They have all these really cool things right here. I love them. Oh, this is so cute. I'm gonna do this one. I'm gonna click on this. I think this is going to look cute for one of my signs, so I'm just gonna press customize design. All right, so for this design, I have 3 pictures that I'm going to use, personal pictures. So I'm gonna drag and drop them into the EufyMake Studio software. They're gonna start loading in one by one or all at one time. Sometimes it takes a second. Woohoo, whoa, they're larger than charge. All right, so what we are going to do is I'm going to make them smaller, just so, holy cow, I can see what I'm doing. Both my kids, one of my kids graduated high school, the other one of my kids graduated elementary school, all in the same year. All right, so we are going to just make this smaller and then put this one right here. I can tell you right now that I think I would much rather just do the design work in like a different design studio. I would not do this again. This is not something that I want to do again. So we're gonna make this fit into this square, and then also this picture, we are going to double click and we are going to make this fit into this square over here. Clicking out of that and then doing the same, we're going to double click this picture and fit it into this rectangle right here. Okay, clicking out of that. Now that I'm done, we're just going to layer this to the back, and then we are going to delete this gray square because we don't need it, and then go back into our original design. So for our original design, or for our original mat that we created, we have this right here already there, right? Obviously, I'm not going to be able to fit it. I have to, this is cut off.
That's annoying. I have to do it again.
All right, so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to move and like scoot my circle thing over to the right a little bit because it obviously is cut off. I feel like maybe I should do the same with this rectangle as well because it feels like it's getting cut off again. Good Lord. Let's do it. Let's do that too. I've rearranged everything. Okay, let's press Snapshot. All right, so now that I have this one done, what I'm gonna do is just come over here and press download. We're going to download this as, it can just be a PNG file. I'll leave it with whatever it is and just press download. Press save. Should come over here in my downloads folder, which it is right there. All right, so going over into the original canvas that we have that photo snapshot doing. We have this right here. We have to do a little bit of edits to that. But what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna drag and drop my new PNG file into my original design, okay? We're gonna drag this over here to the right, just so it's out of the main work area. All right, so for this, I actually think I want this to be on my circle thing. So what I'm going to do is I'm gonna come over here into crop, and I'm gonna crop this into a circle, something like this, and double click. All right, so what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take this circle print that's right here, I'm gonna drag it into my sign, and I'm just gonna place it onto my circle, just like that. And to be honest with you, now it looks like my sign is a little bit crooked, but let's just do it like that. Okay, that seems all right. Now for this design that's right here, I'm gonna drag it in and I'm going to make this smaller, and we're gonna put it onto, which one do you think? I think it'll look good on this arch sign, like that. Do you think? I think it'll be all right on the arch sign. Okay, so we have CMYK white and CMYK here. This one right here, we are just gonna do white and then CMYK. Now for this one, let's go up here into elements, and let's just find an image, any image. I don't really care what it is. Let's just find something cool. Whoa, they have mock-ups. That's interesting. I wonder why we would need a mock-up. Unless we want to create a whole new another new project. I don't know if I want to create another new project though. I'm kind of tired of messing around with this design software. I'm not really you know, it's probably because I like Canvas so much. Canvas, I feel like, is so much easier to use than something like this. It's not terrible. There is a lot of stuff here. It's just not, I don't know. Do you think I'm being overly dramatic? I think I need to give it more than just one try, I feel like. All right, we'll just go over here into uploads, and I know that there's something that I've done that's like cute that can be in here. Oh, you know what? It's almost Halloween. Let's do Halloween Town. We're gonna put this into this rectangle right here. Now this rectangle, what I am going to do, we have just to remind you what our settings look like. We have a white, CMYK in white. Hopefully this turns out to be like a really cool stained glass window effect. Fingers crossed. I probably should ditch trying to make a stained glass at this point, but I'm not going to. Then we have this one right here is going to be white and then CMYK. What that means is a layer of white is gonna get printed and then the color. For this one, I am going to do CMYK and then white. What's going to happen is the layer of color is going to go first and then the layer of white. So we have 3 different finishes that is going to happen. I think we are going to have some really cool prints when we're all done with this. All right. So what we want to do at this point is set our material setting. So we're going to set it over to acrylic. I'm just gonna do standard. I don't really want to like mess around with a high quality print because that might take forever. And then all you wanna do is just press print. I'm not entirely sure how long this is going to take. We're doing 3 prints and that bed is the large bed. So sometimes when you do like really long projects, like large projects, it does take a little while. I'm thinking it's gonna take 1 hour and 15 minutes. What do you think? What do you think it's gonna take? Hour and 15? 2 hours? 15 minutes? I'm gonna say 1 hour and 15 minutes. I'll let you know how long it takes. All right, so in total for these 3 signs, it's gonna take a total of 5.84 milliliters. It's like 50 cents a milliliter, a little less than that, 50 cents, but let's just call it even. It's even at 50 cents. So it's gonna take about $2-3 to do all these prints, which actually isn't too bad. All right, so over at the EufyMake printer, now what you do is just press the happy button at the top of the machine. And you let this do its prints. Okay, and the one thing I love about this printer is that it gave me a notification that my yellow is almost out. So I don't know if it has a thing on it. Oh yeah, you can see. Do you see how it has a white, not white, a red light? And it's not printing. That's because I ran out of yellow ink. So I have to replace the yellow ink and then it'll start printing again. The one thing I can't stand about any other printer is that every single time you run out of ink, it just continues to print. Like, have you ever tried to do a big print project with an inkjet printer? Just prints, 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 as if, you know, you have all the ink. So anyways, this right here is a brand new yellow cartridge. So all you got to do is, here it is. We are going to take the yellow out, completely empty, and you are going to put the new yellow in. You just like push it down. All right, then over at the software, it says the printing's paused because we don't have the ink. So we press OK because we've inserted it in there. And now you just press that play button. Do you want to restore the printing? You just press yes. And then I don't know if you heard it, but the machine did its cool little noise and now it's going to start printing right where it left off. All right, so it took 1 hour and 13 minutes to get all of these done. Didn't I say it was like gonna be like 1.5 hours or 1 hour and 15 minutes, 1 hour and 25? Pretty accurate. So this one right here, remember, was done CMYK white and then CMYK on the back. So this is what it's gonna look like on the front side. And then when we peel off the masking tape, this is what it looks like on the back side. So same thing, but only side. The difference is that now the image is like inside of the acrylic. It's not really on the inside, it's on the other side. So we have one that kind of has a little bit of reflection and the other one that kind of has this like a satin type finish. I wouldn't say gloss or matte. And then this is the other one that we did. So cute. So this is what it looks like on this side. This one right here was the white and then CMYK. So on the back of this one, after you peel it, it's actually going to be white. And that's because we only did a layer of white and then a layer of CMYK. So this is what that looks like. It turned out so cute. I love this. All right, and then the very last one, remember, was white only, or I guess it was CMYK and then white. So you're gonna see a whole layer of white. When we turn this around and peel it off, what you're gonna be able to see is the color shining through. So just like with that sunset one where it had like a glossy type finish and it looked like it was inside of the acrylic. Oh shoot. Oh my gosh. I cannot believe I did this. Ugh, I forgot to mirror the design. So this is what it looks like. It's because I forgot to mirror. Oh my gosh. Well, so we don't get to see what that ends up looking like because that's a me problem. That's what happens when you rush. Ah! My husband can hear me recording and he just said, cool it down, lady. I'm so mad. I'm so mad. All right, well, I plugged in the light base. We're gonna see what it ends up looking like and it's gonna look like crap. At least that one's gonna look like crap. All right, so light base, let me turn off the lights and stuff like that just so we can get a better idea of what this looks like. All right, so it is lit up red. And when you put this in there, it will look like that, nice and red. Let's see other colors that it has. Blue, green. That's kind of like a pinkish color. Another blue. This is like a yellow. Oh, I like this one. I'm gonna probably come back to that. Oh, this is like a white. Yeah, it's like a white. Okay, we're gonna keep it to that one. That one actually looks really cool outside of the fact that it is freaking backwards. That's what it would look like turned around. That sucks. Okay, so let's look at this one. Oh, that's really cool. Really cool. Here, let's show it to you close up. Like, wow. That's awesome. I really love this. And then this is the stained glass one. So stained glass, this is printed on the back. So we'll do it both ways. Put it like this. Okay, we ain't seeing nothing. Like nothing's being lit up here. There ain't nothing being lit up. If you do it like this, it's reflecting off of the acrylic because the paint is on this side and it does kind of look like it's being lit up. But I would say that this is not stained glass either. Look, this is not stained glass either. I'm never gonna get a stained glass thing, but that's okay. My favorite one, you have to let me know what your favorite one is. It better not be this one because it's backwards. You gotta fail sometimes, but it's gonna be this one. This one's gonna be my favorite. In the words of my husband, he always tells me to slow down and I never do. And then I get things like this that remind me that maybe I should just listen to him. But you know what? We've been married for quite a long time now and I don't plan on changing my ways. So, oh my gosh. Oh my gosh, I cannot believe I did this. It probably would have turned out absolutely amazing had I actually reversed it, but holy cow. This is still my favorite though, just because, you know, my kids are there, my husband's there. I think this is cute. This is going on my shelf. This is definitely a shelf sitter. Well, I sure hope that you had a whole lot of fun with me today and that you laugh with me at another failed thing that I've done. I am on a roll with failed prints, and it has nothing to do with the Eufy and it has everything to do with me. Goodness gracious.